Yeah, me being a dick to Joe in art class is kind of one of the main stories. No, you know what? I have an incredible story. This is not high school times. This is, so I'll tell you the Joe story here. Okay, so Joseph and I met on the school bus, and I was a little asshole kid at points. You smoke? I smoke. It's smoking some weed. It's a little bit of a blaze stream. It's legal in my state, and I am of age. Disclaimer. Do I have to point out a disclaimer every single time? I'm disclaiming it. I'm proclaiming it. But yes. So yeah, Joe and I met on the school bus. We did not have any classes together. Let me put this over here. Let's actually make some bread. We didn't have any classes together, but we rode the same school bus because his neighborhood, I was one of the first neighborhoods. Well, I was like the second neighborhood stop. His was like the third neighborhood stop. So Joe, I would just see him on the bus, and I had my own friends who lived in my neighborhood that I, because everybody clicks up, I guess. But, just I knew those people, and I didn't kind of introduce myself to random fucking kids, although I did know everybody pretty much growing up in the school. But he was a grade below me, and that was during middle school, 6th grade. So up magic school bus. Dan, do you miss James? I do miss James. I miss those guys. I miss all those guys. We don't really talk, but I miss those dudes. Hope they're doing well. But so yes, I ended up failing 6th grade. If none of you have ever heard this, I failed 6th grade because I'm not the smartest person. No, I just wasn't. I wasn't very good at math, and so I ended up failing that, and I failed English, which is one of my strongest subjects. But I failed it because of absences. Because that year was a year that, for some reason, I don't know why, but my mom, I kept pretending to be sick. It was really weird. I don't know why I do the things I do. But I just wanted to stay home. I didn't want to go to school. I wasn't that kind of kid. And my mom kind of saw that I wasn't the kind of kid that's going to do super well in school. So she homeschooled me. And I homeschooled for 2 years. So the thing was, I ended up failing 6th grade, and it was either I get held back or I homeschooled. And so I did, or no, I'm sorry, I didn't fail 6th grade. I failed 7th grade. So I did 7th grade. Did I do? I didn't do 7th grade twice. Did I? 8th? No, yeah, I did 7th and 8th. So yeah, but the thing was, I started a year young. So I ended up graduating I should have been the year before anyway. It was just my birthday fell around the kind of a weird time of the school year, I guess. My mom kind of said she always thought I was too young to go into school. That's what she kind of pegged it on. She was like, oh, he was too young. He was too young to go to school. I didn't put any of that shit away. I just ran back up here because I'm fucking thinking about all this stuff. But that's what Minecraft is for, running around in circles, right? And just continually loading. You know what? I'm going to sex more chickens since I'm here. Why not? But what was I saying? So it was homeschooled. So that was actually really cool. I think that was something that at the time at first was awesome, and then kind of got like, oh, my mom's my teacher, and also socially it's one of those challenging things because I still had friends in the neighborhood, luckily. But, I didn't get to see really kind of any other kind of go outside of that little box. So I lived in like that kind of little ecosystem there. But homeschool was pretty awesome because, I had a little bit of issues with bullying, a little bit. Nothing huge, just people being dicks. And it was never that, like, it was never really about me being fat or anything. I was certainly kind of a bigger kid in my high school years. That never really kind of came up. Maybe if people wanted to kind of make fun of me, but it didn't really happen too often. But anyway, so yeah, homeschooled. I know I was doing the story of my life, and then I started the story on Joe, but didn't get around to any of that stuff. So yeah, it all leads into that stuff. So we homeschooled, and that was like I think looking back now, I think it was a very good experience. Just because I got to learn, like, again, I didn't get to do whatever I wanted. Jesus Christ. Just get out of here, sheep. Thank you. You know, I didn't get to, you know, be like, I want to pick what I learned, you know, but, you know, my mom had a curriculum. She was going by a curriculum. She bought, like, books and, you know, like, did the whole thing. But, like, taught at, like, you know, just, it was fun. It was fun doing research on stuff. It was fun. I remember one of the big, you know, kind of themes throughout one of the years. I think it was my 7th grade year. Was Greek history and Greek mythology, well, more so Greek mythology and stuff. And we read the Odyssey. And watched we didn't read the Odyssey. We read like an abridged version. Hey, Soya Bean donated $5. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Soya Bean 8. Yes, no, we learned a lot about Greek mythology, and I fell in love with Greek mythology. That whole subject was very interesting to me, and got me interested just in like mythology in general, as well as like, you know, like, because we grew up, you know, I grew up as an Episcopalian, a Christian, and we went to church every Sunday. I went to, you know, Sunday school. I went, you know, youth group. We did youth group. We did lock-ins. We did everything. You know, super into that stuff. And, you know, I'm a confirmed Episcopalian, actually. And then, you know, as time went on, I kind of, you know, became less of a religious person and kind of developed a bit more of my own, you know, opinions on life and all that jazz. But, you know, I studied the Bible, you know, during the confirmation stuff. We had to, you know, that was part of the confirmation was, you know, for a few weeks we would go. I would go with my sister Kate to study the Bible. And it was like night classes, and it was interesting. It was really interesting, and I was fascinated. I'm fascinated by the story aspect of those things. You know, they're moral stories and all that jazz, and some of them definitely aren't. But you know, some of them definitely aren't right. But it's, you know, the stories were always interesting to me as a kid, and I think that's something that I have carried on in life. In general, like with the Greek mythology stuff, I'm fascinated in stories, and that's one of the things why I just fell so much in love with movies, is because it's just, you know, it's just the story, you know, that's what I'm interested in, yeah, so that's all that jazz. So that was super cool doing the homeschooling. We did that for 2 years. My sister Kelly homeschooled for one of the years too. And then I went back to high school, and that's where I kind of met Joe in art. And I also kind of went back a year, so I was then in his grade. So, because initially I would have been class of 2007, but I'm class of 2008 because I got held back. Oh yeah. Fantastic history lessons about Dan. But yeah, no, I loved I loved hanging out with Joe. I was kind of an asshole when we first met. Well, we were still friendly, but I was just, you know, I was a dick. Who isn't in high school? Most people, but, you know, well, not most people. I'm not going to say that. But, you know, I was a little bit of a dick. Still can be. I'm not intentionally a dick. It's just, you know, it's, you know, it's the New York in me. Not really. It happens. Daniel, did you have a Batman lunch kit with a cape on it in high school? I did, and everybody loved it. I always got, so many people stopped me and asked me where I got that. I was like, Walmart, and then just kept strutting. But so the thing was, yeah, I got taken out of high school, or got taken out of middle school, homeschooled for 2 years, and people thought I died. Because the first year, my sister Kelly, no, that's what it was. The first year, it was my sister Kelly, and I, and then my little sister Haley, who was kind of preschooling. She wasn't quite in kindergarten yet. I believe? Yes, that sounds right. Or, I don't know. But she was there. But, so I knew everybody, but they thought, when I went back, or when Kelly went back, because we went 1 year where Kelly and I were both out of school, and my brother and sister Katie and Tom had either graduated or, well, Kelly was still in middle school. So that was the thing, was Kelly and I were around the same grade. We were two grades off. So, all the people who knew us were, they didn't know my older brother and sister. So they thought I had died. They thought I had died when, and they thought Kelly took a year off of school. And so when she came back, she was like, no, Daniel's alive. Daniel didn't die. And so when I went back to high school, it was like all the people I went to middle school with elementary, the end of elementary school and middle school. So I went grade 3 to 6 with those people. And so I knew them once I went to high school, including Joe. So yeah, we just met in art, and I'll tell you the story that I was going to tell way earlier in a minute, but I'm sorry, I'm just staring at a screen now. Jesus Christ. I'm just getting so engrossed in trying to track this story. Believe me, when I come back from smoking, let's see if I have that cognitive ability to tell the story without losing my point. But either way, I'll do all that stuff. But yeah, we had art together. We did that for, I think, a couple years. We did Art 1 and Art 2 there. And I was only there for 2 years in the high school. And then my dad got a job down in Brunswick County in North Carolina, just on the border of South Carolina. And I'm not going to keep any bread. We don't need bread. We moved to a completely new place my sophomore year of high school. I went from a high school that had state of the art, like it was a well-funded school. The band was huge. It played at Bush's inauguration. It was huge. It was huge. And so what ended up happening was I moved to this school that ended up was this shitty beach school that was the school that was built. It was the first school, non-segregated high school in that area in the 70s, I believe. So that was what that school was. That was the history of it. And it was just it's a really crappy school. Really old, not super well kept up. And I didn't like anybody there outside of the people I ended up working with at Lowe's, at the grocery store that I used to work at, Lowe's Foods. I made some friends, but not too many at that school, and I just really didn't click. And I became so much more introverted that year than those 2 years than I had previously, just because people were jerky and into themselves, and just people I could not really connect with, just personally, and. That's you as fuck, Dan. And just really douchey dicky people. And just high school, whatever. And I was the kid. I became the kid. I loved reading. Kind of like, I think maybe it was the homeschooling years that kind of put me onto reading. Although there was one point where I completely bullshitted a book report because my mom was like, you pick the book and you write a book report on it and then I'll, whatever. And so I picked a Spider-Man book and didn't read it at all. It was called Lizard Sanction and it was a Spider-Man novelization. So that's all good. Let's continue the fence on the other side. But it was just a novelization that I completely bullshitted because I knew she wouldn't know what the fuck any of it's about, and I knew she wasn't sure as hell wasn't gonna read the book. So I just fucking didn't read that. But anyway, I got super into Harry Potter. Harry Potter is what really kind of got me into reading. And then what really kept me continuing to read was, I think I should do this from here. Let's etch some of this out. What really got me into reading was and it was kind of crazy. The Splinter Cell series got me into Tom Clancy, and I had seen a lot of the Jack Ryan movies growing up and stuff. Those are like, Hunt for Red October and Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games and Some of All Fears, and more recently Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit with Chris Pine. Those were all Jack Ryan movies where the main character was Jack Ryan. Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, and Chris Pine have all played Jack Ryan. John Krasinski is currently filming an Amazon series where he plays Jack Ryan. John Krasinski's from The Office. He's Jim. He's going to be Jack Ryan. That's going to be fucking awesome, I think, the way he's been selling it. So I think I'm going to do that. So hopefully it's pretty good. I'm just going to go around here, I think. I'm going to encase a little bit more around. And so I fell in love with those books because Splinter Cell really got me into Tom Clancy in a big way. And so that's, I really got, I would just sit in the classroom and just in any break I had, I'd have this huge Tom Clancy novel full of technical specs of submarines and whatever I'm reading. I remember reading Cardinal of the Kremlin during all my classes. I think it was my junior year, and that book blew me away. But also, it was just, I remember I was head down just in a book. I was that kid, and so when I wasn't at home playing video games or talking with Joe, Joe and I were kind of, we would talk, and on AIM, we never kind of lost that communication. I actually think I probably spent more time and got to know Joe more through Skyping or through aiming, because we would have voice chats as well. But we learned a lot about each other and became a lot better friends, I think, because of it. And so we were kind of coming up with ideas for like machinimas, because we were super into Red versus Blue, and my first for my senior project in high school, you scared me. And then I turned and there was a sheep that was scary. AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. That's what we talked on. And I still have some of those conversations saved. We had some really weird coincidences happen every once in a while where I would message him about something, or he would ask me a question and I would like know something. Like, it was just weird. We had a psychic connection back then, and our brains were so similar. I think now, I think as we had time apart, I think we kind of our mindsets have kind of changed. We both have had a lot of different experiences. We're still friends, and we still like have that connection, but not exactly the same as when we were kids. We had like, honestly, like this really weird like fucking telepathic thing. For my senior project, I had to have a mentor because I didn't know, well, I knew how to make machinimas. I was kind of learning how to get a capture card, do this, whatever, work in engine, that was a possibility, and all that stuff. And I knew Halo was an option, and all of that jazz. So I needed a mentor. You needed somebody with knowledge on the subject that you are focusing on for your senior project. And I'm like, how the fuck? Who am I going to find that can make a machinima that who knows how to do that? And so I bullshitted and said Joe was my mentor when I was really just doing all the research myself on the internet. Because who needs a mentor when you have the internet? I was a very resourceful kid. Not to toot my own horn, but I figured that shit out myself and learned how to do it. I bought a broke ass fucking bootleg capture card because that was before the Dazzle, or at least Dazzle was too expensive. But I couldn't find. I don't know if the Dazzle was really a thing back then, but I bought a Geniatech it was a Geniatech UTV USB. I'm sorry. Here we go. One more time. Geniatech UT3 USB TV tuner. That's what it was called. And I still have it. It's in a box. But it was just kind of this broke ass, really crappy capture card. And I made a Halo machinima. But the thing was, I reached out to Rooster Teeth. I sent them a message on their contact thing on their website. And I was like, hey, my name's Daniel Gidlow, and I've gotten these messages throughout the years, and I've tried to reply to some of them, and I don't always, and I feel terrible. But either way, I understand. I was just, my name's Daniel Gidlow, and I'm a big fan, and I really love. You know, I'm doing this senior project, and I have to have a mentor, somebody who knows how to make a machinima. And you guys do red versus blue, and so like that was, you know, I did that. I didn't hear back. I didn't get message back, but and why would I? But that was a little like, oh, maybe they'll message back, but they didn't, and that's fine. Yeah, there's so many of those that I never messaged back that I should have. I feel like I should have at this point, but you know. It's just, you know, that happened so much. It happened so much. I understand why they never messaged back. I now understand. I became them. But yes, no. So I didn't have anybody. And at the time, Machinima for Dummies had just coming out, like the book. Because I had to have a written source, and 2 internet sources and a mentor. To take you through your project, because you had to learn about what you were doing, and you also had to kind of make a product of what you're doing. Dan gets idea explosion. So what I ended up doing was I made a Machinima trailer called MX Legion, and it was kind of, well, it wasn't really a trailer. It was kind of more so just like the story. And it was something that I had created, just kind of, I had written one day. I had just kind of got inspired and had an idea, and I just wrote this kind of like melodramatic, whatever story, history of this alien race that humans find and bring to Earth. And like that, you know, because you always had to work in the Covenant into the story, and the Spartans and how all that worked, and you know, you always had to work the suits into it and all that jazz. But you know, I really wanted to make something kind of cool. And I made this trailer and showed it in front of my class. I presented it to my class, and it was projected on the class projector. And that was, you know, I think that was kind of the moment. You know, I've watched so many interviews with directors and even actors or whatever, you know, like mainly filmmakers though, where they every once in a while I'll see where they say, you know, they showed, you know, whatever, they had this kind of screening experience, or they had some moment where it was like, I want to be a filmmaker because of this. And it was, you know, for me it was showing that trailer to the classroom, because they all thought it was super fucking awesome. Like they were like, holy shit, like that's like and that was the crappy high school. That was the high school I couldn't connect with anybody with, but I connected to them through this story I told, and I was just like, holy shit, this is incredible. Because we all had sheets, we all had like these little cards where it would say, you know, where we would grade each other. We would grade each other's projects because we had to present. And this wasn't the final presentation. Final presentation was in front of 3 judges who were just random ass people. They weren't teachers. Well, some of them were teachers, but like, you know, they were, you know, people brought in to judge. And so I got all these like little cards back that had, you know, like everybody, all these people who I probably hadn't spoken more than 2 words to. You know, everybody was like, you know, super awesome and encouraging, and like, holy crap. I thought that was like, somebody came up to me after class and said, I thought that was like, you know, I didn't know, did you make that? Because like, I didn't know that was like, I thought that was like a thing that you were just showing. And I'm like, no, I made that. It was something I voiced and did, and it was just like kind of this like montagey thing. It's on the internet now, but this is part of the future story that I will tell in a second. Story time, still going. The actual presentation of the project, I ended up having technical issues, and I also didn't hear them when they called me, because what the thing was, it was after school, and they had us like waiting in the cafeteria, and they were calling people one by one off of a list. And I was hanging out with one of my friends. I didn't hear them call Daniel Gidlow, so I didn't know that it was my turn to go up there. So I, 1, was late to my presentation, and 2, I had technical difficulties loading, because I had my video on a flash drive. Not too many people had videos. It was more so just, you know, they had a physical product. But my product was on a flash drive, which back then it was a 3 megabyte flash drive. Was it 3? Might be 5 megabytes. I think it was a 5 megabyte flash drive. It was like $20 at Walmart, and, back in my day, hey Darren, how you doing? I was having technical difficulties because the school has the thing where if you plugged in at the time, they had so many protections on the website stuff and on stuff plugged into the computer. So when I plugged it into the computer, it wouldn't let me load what was on. Oh no, you know what the thing was? It wouldn't let me load what was on it because it had an application and an executable on it, because the flash drives back then had their own like built-in software thing. They still do. Some of them still do, like those books and stuff. But like, it had like this kind of program that was on it baked into it that I couldn't see to delete, that wouldn't let me use the flash drive. But somehow I ended up finding a way around it. See you later, King. I'm sorry I haven't been talking to the chat. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the stories. I haven't been interacting with the chat as much, but I've been kind of going off and focusing on the stories. But where's the thing? Oh, there we go. So what I ended up getting the workaround and I got it started, but I got docked for one, being late for my thing, and two, it took about 15 minutes for us to get it working on the computer. So we turned down the lights, we projected it, and it was they were really impressed. They were like, was that like who'd you get to do the voice acting in it? And I was like, oh, that was me. And they're like, it was you, because I pitched my voice down in the thing just because it wasn't supposed to be like, it was so like it made me sound different or affected or whatever. It didn't sound like me telling a story. So they ended up like, I got high marks on that, but I ended up getting a 70 something on it. I would have crushed it. My paper, I wrote a 6-page paper about fucking making machinima and storytelling and all that stuff, and kind of like all that stuff and the technical aspects of it. I bet I could write a way fucking better paper now, but I have experience now. But back then, I quoted Batman Begins in it. I used the quote, "It's not what I do that defines me," or "It's not who I am that defines me," or what's the line? It's not what you do that defines you, but who you are, or whatever. What was the line? I can't remember. I used that stupid line from Batman Begins in my thing, and I used it as one of my quotes, as one of my not sources, but I used it. I had to source it and all that stuff because I had to create like a fucking thing for it. Anyway, I ended up getting a 75 because remember when I was saying that Joe was my mentor? Well, I made Joe my mentor, and you just have to log the hours in a little log. And you had to have 10 hours with your mentor. And I wrote 6 hours, and then I was going to write 4 hours for the other one, for the sessions, my mentor sessions. And I fucking left the 4 blank. I didn't put a 4 in the thing. And so they docked me for not, I wrote Joe Lawson, like I had him sign it. I had like what we did, but I didn't put a time on it. And so they docked me for not doing the whole 10 hours. So that. But I ended up taking that trailer after I graduated, because that was my, I ended up graduating that year. I didn't walk because I didn't like the high school. I wish I could have graduated at, the high school that Joe and I went to. But c'est la vie. It was not meant to be, because we moved. But what ended up happening was, so I didn't walk. Didn't really care for the people there. I wrote for the newspaper. I wrote for the newspaper for both high schools that I went to. I didn't really talk about that much, but I did movie reviews and such. Yes, this is what I was getting to when I ended up after I graduated. When I was in community college, I uploaded the MX Legion trailer. I re-edited it. And because I made the original in Movie Maker, I re-edited the newer one. Hey, have some bits for telling us all these stories. Hell yeah, more Dorios. Thank you so much. And yes, once again, hello to everybody in the chat. I'm sorry, I've just been rambling on and on and on. But yes, Blazed Minecraft stream is good for some stories. So I ended up. Nope, we do not want to make a fence. I forgot it was the other way around. Shit, I made a lot of sticks, but that's fine. We need a lot of sticks. Because I'm a lot of sticks, you know what I'm saying? This guy knows. Is this all spruce? Okay, good. The spruce goose. Yeah, sure, whatever. That's not gonna work, but we're almost, I think, done fencing all this bullshit anyway. We'll just make these last few clumps of fences here. I think that's plenty. So I ended up uploading or re-editing that trailer. kind of made it a little bit better because I got Pinnacle Studio Plus or whatever it was at the time. It's Pinnacle Studio 8, I believe, and ended up. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring this around here. Keep this around the hill here, I guess. I don't fucking know. This is kind of looking ugly, but I don't give a shit. This is just to keep chickens in. That's the main purpose. So I re-edited that, uploaded it on Machinima's website because they, would feature stuff on their website as well as upload some of the stuff off the website onto their YouTube. And I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of uploaded it to see, if it would get any comments or whatever. I had my own YouTube channel, but I just wanted to submit it there, and so I did. And they ended up, I was randomly, because somebody asked me a couple streams ago if I ever Google myself, and I was Googling Dan's News or Dan's News Productions. I was just Googling it for some stupid bullshit reason. I had no reason to be Googling it. I only had made, very little stuff on the internet, but I was just seeing if there was anything anywhere, because I was being stupid. And can I just put this here, I guess? That looks all right, I guess. And I ended up finding that Machinima had uploaded my video on YouTube because there was this video on YouTube called Dawn Rising trailer. And I was like, oh shit, they put it on YouTube. And it had 14,000 views. And I was like, my brain exploded. I was like, 14,000 people. And it had maybe 40 comments. And, oh, you had that more Oreos? I gotcha. All right, have a good one. And, yes, try to be here, but yes, lurk mode enabled for bored Oreos. I thought you were heading out, but yes. Oh, shit, there's a fucking witch over here. Get to my house and go to sleep. Don't get hit by the witch. Holy shit, fuck. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do something now. So I created my Dan's News Machinima channel, the channel that's my main channel now, which is not my original channel. My original channel is youtube.com/Dan's News. And this was 2008. 2009. September 2009? Or is it 2008? I can't remember. They uploaded it then. And so I created my new channel, Dan's News Machinima. And this is where I'm going to make my serious machinimas. And it's going to be the place where I make it, and all that stuff. And so I messaged every single person who left a comment on that video and was like, hey, you liked Dawn Rising? Well, I'm going to make this. Does that old channel still exist? Dan's News? Yeah. YouTube.com/Dan's News. All my old videos are on there. Even my videos from 2005 on Google Video. At one point, it gave me an opportunity to export my old videos off Google Video because I used to upload it to Google Video before YouTube was a thing, but Google didn't own YouTube yet, and YouTube ran like shit on my computer. So I couldn't watch any YouTube videos. So I just watched Google Video videos. So those are on there. Those are really crappy montages I made to pictures from Splinter Cell and stuff like that, and also some random stuff that'll probably make you scratch your head. But it was just me learning editing and stuff. So anyway, yeah, I made this new channel, my Dan's News Machinima channel. What was the name of the old channel? It was okay here. Hold on one second. There you go. Dan's News. Very simple. Yeah, that was my original channel. Since I had copyrighted stuff on there, I decided to make a new channel with a clean slate. So that I would not have to... should I put a fence up there? Honestly, I'm just worried that this isn't going to do shit. Although I don't really get zombies around here, because I've pretty well lit up this entire area. And I'm going to light up soon when I take a break, which will be soonish, but I want to finish the story. But... I want to... So, yeah, an counter for the amount of times I've said that during this rant, by the way. Ding, 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 ding. There it goes again. The YouTube channel. I created Dan's News Machinima, messaged all those people who left a comment, and said, there's going to be more of that coming soon. And so I made the first episode. I'm pretty sure I put it out. That might have been on a different channel, though. That might have been way later. But I ended up I made a Halo Machinima. that isn't on the channel anymore. See, I'm an idiot, and I deleted old videos. I deleted so many updates on my channel, and I deleted so many random old videos on my channel. I don't know why I ever did it. Back then, I don't know if privating was a thing. It might have been. Definitely is now, and I should have privated them. But alas, I deleted them. So I made a Halo mission. I got a few views. Got pretty well received. People liked it. And then that was called Final Retribution. Yeah. And then Dawn Rising never saw the light of day. Not true. I produced one episode of Dusk. What was it? The Dusk Chronicles, which followed the story that was set in place in Dawn Rising. It's what led to Dawn Rising, or at least no. What was the story? It kind of elaborates the story that's told in that trailer. I have stuff written. I started to produce more stuff around it too. I actually watched part of it the other day. I only have the intro done for it, and I didn't do any more because I wanted to do a lot of CGI and stuff. But either way, I uploaded the Meet 360 Avatar video on my channel because the Avatar update happened. It was November 16th, November 18th, 2009. That's what it was. Yes. Sounds about right. And they updated the 360 social, like the blades that they had, the blade system, and upgraded and added the new like avatar thing. Majiggy. They added the avatars. I explained that perfectly. They added avatars that day, and I noticed while my mom and my little sister were getting ready, I didn't have school that day. I was in community college. I'm just collecting eggs real quick to put in the launcher. I want to get this built up so we can maybe unleash these chickens by the end of the stream, because that's once we fence it in, we'll be able to just send them on out there. But I ended up making the Meet 360 Avatar video, and over like a week, November 16th, 2009, was the day you saw Kiss live. Hey, awesome. Good for us that day. It might have been the 18th, though, or the 19th. That video, over the span of like a week... Oh, I should just leave that going. What am I doing? Over the span of a week, got like 10,000 views, a little more, 20,000 views, and it started to get shared more and more, and I was like, oh, holy shit. This is crazy. And what ended up happening was it ended up kind of resting around 72,000 views. And that absolutely blew my mind. It had been shared around a whole bunch. It's the first time I had ever kind of had an experience like that before. And I made a second one because it just did so well. And I was like, hell yeah, this is like sweet. I'm going to make more of these because this is really fun. So I made a second one. And at the time, I was also really heavily into GameTrailers.com. I was a frequent user there. I uploaded my videos and stuff there as well. And, that's around when Screw Attack was kind of starting to become big. And they had that going. Anthony and Ashley Birch were doing Hey Ash, What You Playin', which is one of my favorite web series from back in the day. They still do it too, and they're both still. She's voice acting in video games, and he wrote Borderlands 2. But all of that jazz. I uploaded my stuff there as well, and Game Trailers featured Avatar. Hey Anthony, how you doing? They featured, because I signed up there and uploaded my stuff by the time I had made the second one. So I uploaded the first and the second one on Game Trailers, and they featured the second one. And so a lot of people on Game Trailers saw the second one first, and then went back and watched the first one, and they're like, oh, the second one's better than the first one. Like, the first one, for them, was better than the second one. And for people on YouTube, people liked the second one less than the first one because they saw the first one first. So it was funny seeing how once people are kind of... It was one of those things where like the idea was kind of repeated in the first 4, I think I did. I think I did 4 of those, or 3 of those at least. Oh yeah, I did 3, took a break, and then I think I eventually did a 4th one. Sorry, I'm just running around collecting eggs and then shooting them off, but that's what I'm doing. Just for a second here. Yeah, we'll just leave those in there. That's not important. Let's finish the fence. So what ended up happening was, I got a message from Machinima that were like, "Hey, we've seen this, Meet the 360 Avatar video. We'd be very interested in having you with our director's program." And so I signed up and became a director on Machinima, and they put the first two, they put the first two Avatar videos up. I think by the time that happened, I made the third one? No, I made the third one. That was my first one that went on Machinima by itself. But should I? Yeah, that's good. I should really torch this wall pretty bad so we don't have guests coming around. But I think I'm just gonna kind of meet the gate up around here and have that be done with it. Go from here because the gate starts right there. Yeah, this will be perfect. So from here. How do we do this? How should we do this? Let's do this. Shit, I'm just psyching myself out now. What should I be doing here? Let's just do this. That works, I guess. I don't know. So I partnered with them. The videos went up on to YouTube, and the first Avatar video got like 300,000 views. Almost like when I found out it went up, I was seeing that I was getting so many emails that I was getting subscribers that I was just like, holy crap. Because my my grandfather and I think this was the movie we went and saw. We went and saw 3:10 to Yuma. And when I got out, I found out they had uploaded it because I had submitted it, a while ago. And I had to change the music. Initially, the music was Frank Sinatra for the start of the thing. I'm going to put do I have a gate? No, I don't have a gate. I'll put in gates at points. So I'm not just like trapped forever. Okay, we have done all of this. I think we can sex more chickens. Then we'll take a break and smock. Do a smock break. And then come back and do some mining or kind of develop a project here outside of this massive project while we're still, sexing the sheep or the chickens. And then at the end, we'll unleash them all. So yeah, it blew me away. It fucking, that exploded my brain. I remember my sister, just kind of constantly putting it into context for me because it wasn't something that's like easy to comprehend that many people, and people really liked it. And it was one of those things where people were commenting and they're like, man, this is like, because everybody complains about everything. People are just like, this is what I subscribed to Machinima for, not all those crap, whatever, stuff like that. I would see that comment every once in a while on some of my videos that are just like, I think some of the stuff that they uploaded was good. Although they used to like vomit upload stuff all the time from creators, and eventually they started making their own original content, or more of their own original content, I should say. So all of that happened. The fence is done. Sweet. Let's sex some chickens. And that was kind of off from there. I went on and kept making the Avatar videos, ended up meeting the other guys, and that went off from there. So that's kind of most of that stuff. I don't know if there were any other portions of the story I was going to tell. Oh yes, the Joe story. Let's end off on the Joe story with the chicken sexing. So my story, a story that I could tell about me and Joe hanging out back in the day. I think this is what kicked all of this off, by the way. Joe and I share a love of Coheed and Cambria. I'm actually wearing my shirt. Funnily enough, I'm wearing my Coheed and Cambria shirt. Joe introduced me to Coheed and Cambria, although I had heard them before he had. I heard Favorite House Atlantic and seen the video, but hadn't really listened. I'm the kind of person I listen to popular music. I listen to radio, every once in a while. I listen to Pandora now, but I used to listen to the radio, and I more so knew songs more so than bands. I knew a lot of the bands growing up. Bands. I feel like I'm saying bands weird. Bands. I knew a lot of bands growing up, but I didn't. There's plenty of songs that I've heard that I couldn't tell you who sings it. I just know the song, or what the song is called. Honestly, some of the time. So I didn't know who Coheed was, and he had sent me Welcome Home. This was around the Rock Band time, although he had been listening to them, I think, a little bit longer than that. he sent me Welcome Home, and just the way that song starts, like it's so fucking awesome. And then Claudio comes in, and he's just doing his thing, and I was just like, oh my God. I was like, that song was so awesome. And then the guy comes in and starts ruining it with his fucking high-pitched voice. And I just was like, oh, like, the guy ruined the song. I messaged Joe back because he sent it to me on AIM. And I messaged him back, and I didn't grab seats, did I? Stupid Dan. He messaged, I was like, he just ruins it. It's so high-pitched and just like, ugh. And he was like, oh, it's not for everybody. And I ended up just like slowly falling. You might fall asleep, Lord Marin. Oh, no problem. Have a good night if you fall asleep. I just really it took a little bit for Claudio's voice to kind of grow on me, and then when it did, just fell in love with him. I absolutely fell in love with Coheed and Cambria, and Joe and I just became obsessed because No World for Tomorrow came out after that, right? Welcome Home was on Good Apollo, right? No, the other one. Either way. No World for Tomorrow came out, and him and I were super hyped for it, and we just became just huge Coheed nerds together, and just became obsessed. And so we had an opportunity. I think he had seen them. I think this was the first time both of us were seeing them live. I don't know if he had seen them once before. Maybe he had. But he had let me know that they were performing in Charlotte, North Carolina, and so I bought a ticket, and we went with it was me, Joe, and his friend Charlie. No, that might not be right. I can't remember the guy's name. We interacted a little bit after that, but not a whole lot. He introduced me to Reggie Watts, though. But not like literally, but he introduced me to Fuck Shit Stack. We listened to it on the car on the way there because it was like a 3-hour drive to Charlotte. Was it 3 hours? It might not have been that long. It was like a 2-hour drive or something like that. From Raleigh to Charlotte, whatever that drive is. And so we were riding from NC State in Joe's Mini Cooper and kind of just road tripped it down there. And we had a grand old adventure. There's some stories that are about to be told from this story. So yeah, we road tripped it. It was really fun going in the Mini. I love Mini Coopers. Joe loves Mini Coopers. We both had an obsession with Mini Coopers. I think to sum up our friendship at the time, we had an obsession with Coheed, Mini Coopers, and Olivia Munn. I think that's pretty much what we were obsessed with at the time. And Halo, all together. So we road tripped it down there, and then when we got there, we stopped by a CVS because the guy had a headache, and we wanted to get some medication, like some medication, some ibuprofen or something. And so we stopped at a CVS. It looked like this kind of like old timey CVS. We had to park in a parking structure to get to it, but what ended up happening was before we got to the parking structure, we were kind of just driving around looking for parking. And we found out there was a thing that connected to like the shopping center. So that's what we ended up going to. But we ended up seeing this cop who had was talking to somebody. Like he was this bike cop who was just talking to this dude on a park bench. And like kind of looked like he was giving like a stern talking to. But the guy had his leg up on the park bench, and so he was just like putting his crotch. He was just like this, like with his leg on the park bench, and his crotch was just in this dude's face, who he was giving this stern talking to, and we were like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? What is this like?" So we dubbed him Crotch Cop, and moved on with our lives because we just laughed about Crotch Cop, the guy, fucking Crotch Cop, the bike cop. Because he's wearing these little short shorts, and he's putting his crotch in, like what guy I'm wearing now, kind of. He's putting his crotch in people's faces, and like, all right, Crotch Cop, calm down. You are sworn to protect and serve, not protect and swing them balls in front of my face. But yeah, we ended up going to the CVS after we parked in the parking structure, and there was this display of Crotch Cop. He was amazing. There was this display of disposable cameras that were all kind of set up, kind of like stacked, kind of like cascaded all the way down like the top of one of these shelves. And he's going to grab the aspirin, and accidentally bumps it, and all of the cameras just toppled over domino style, and we were just like laughing our asses off, like, let's get the fuck out of here. So we got out of there, got the aspirin, and it was just like, oh my fucking god. And we were hungry, so we were like, okay, let's go try to find some food. So within the plaza was like a bunch of restaurants. There was this bowling alley that also had this restaurant inside of it. So we're like, okay, let's go eat here. And oh yeah, I haven't put any eggs in there. Okay, well that's pretty good for now for the chickening. Let's go back down and just kind of get prepped for the mining, and then we'll take a break. So we went and got food at this bowling alley restaurant, and this is, my goodness. Okay, so I when they come over, I was like, we were putting in our orders. I was getting like a burger. I was like, do you guys have Mountain Dew? And he's like, no, we have Mellow Yellow. I was like, oh, I'll have Mellow Yellow. And he's like, oh, we're out of Mellow Yellow. And I was like, what? Okay, I'll have like a Sprite then or something. And I was like, okay. And we did that. And oh, it's nighttime. Let's go to sleep. And then Joe's friend ordered, and I can't remember his name. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, he ended up ordering a margarita pizza and a salad, and we're like, okay, why we say have it when you don't? Yeah, I know. Take a break, quote unquote. Yep, you're right, Michael. Is that an Alex emote? Oh, hey, he's doing the toke. And we have Blaze Dan emote here, so take a break and then hold on. It's working right there. Synergy. And so he orders a margarita pizza and a salad, and this is so stupid. Orders a margarita pizza and a salad. Joe orders his thing. I can't remember. I think Joe had an issue ordering his thing as well. But what ends up happening was the food ends up making it over, and they put a pizza in front of can't remember the guy's name, but Joe's friend, and like it's not a margarita pizza, and we're like, what the fuck? And the guy comes over. Well, he ends up flagging down a server, and he's like, excuse me, this isn't a margarita pizza? Like, is this margarita pizza? And the guy was like, yeah, it's margarita pizza. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the margarita pizza. And we're like, okay. And then our server, like when our server came back over, like, because it had like meat and shit on it, and it wasn't a margarita pizza, and we were like, excuse me, is this the margarita pizza to our server? And he was like, oh no, sorry, that's the wrong pizza. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, like whatever. So they took it back, and then you've heard the story before. Yes, I've told it before. I think on Creature Talk. And then they ended up bringing him his pizza, but his salad didn't come, and. So we flagged down the server again, and we're like, excuse me, sir, like, he was supposed to get a salad, and he was like, oh, the salads don't usually make it out of the kitchen. And we were just like, the salads don't make it out of the kitchen. The salads don't usually make it out of the kitchen. This is what he said, word for word. Salads don't usually make it out of the kitchen. Like, what the fuck? All right, David, have a good night. And so we were like, okay, sure, bowling alley restaurant, let's get out of here. So we left, and we were going back to the parking structure, because that was just limited parking. We needed to go over to the like an actual parking structure, because that was just for the shopping center. So we ended up going to well, no, we didn't leave that parking structure yet, but we went back to the parking structure for the car. And when we were down there was this guy who was hanging out with one of the employees from the store that the parking structure was directly connected to, and was like digging around in her pants, and was like kind of just like being pushy on her, and was like kind of like molesting her and or attempting some sexual shit on her, and she clearly didn't want. And we were just like, what the fuck like is happening right now? And they started kind of like getting loud, and I was like, should we do something? And then all of a fucking sudden, Crotch Cop comes sliding in like a bat out of hell on his bike, and just goes, shh, throws his bike down, and fucking takes the guy off of her and pins him to the wall. Crotch Cop comes in and saves the fucking day. And Crotch Cop this time around had backup. He had a female Crotch Cop counterpart with him. But Crotch Cop ended up saving the day in this parking structure, and we went on, saw Coheed, had a great time. There was a sugar-free Monster truck, or no, it wasn't Monster. What was it? Sugar-free. It was one of the energy drink companies. Yeah, I think it was Sugar-Free Monster outside after the concert, because we were all fucking sweaty and thirsty, and they had just this free PT Cooper fucking loaded up with a bunch of Monster in the back. And so we drank that, and then we went home. It was fun. We need a Crotch Cop emote. Oh, man. Yeah, Crotch Cop was an incredible sight. I'm sure he's pretty much the Batman of Charlotte, I'm pretty sure. I like how I ran back up here while I was telling the story, but I was just too focused on telling the story. Crotch Cop is the hero we need. So yeah, we had a great time. It was the first time I ever saw Coheed live. They killed it. It was they were doing the Year of the Black Rainbow. That was the first show, I believe, of that tour.